Hey everybody, and welcome to the race reviews of Tuesday's races. We had a race on Saturn, and we had a race on Fantastic Dimensionalism, and I really enjoyed the first one. And the second one, I had an unfortunate crash, or not really unfortunate, I crashed very early on. It's tough to get back on, but for Saturn, this is really the race I want to dive into and talk about the dynamics that went on in the race, because from an outside point of view, you may not really have caught it, because you can see I'm on screen right now. I have my headphones on. Tim has his headphones on. All of the Cycling Hub boys, so Quentin, Timothy, Chris, etc., and we all had our headphones on. We were all on the audio widget together, and we were all chatting about how we could win this race. Like, what is the best possible strategy to optimize the likelihood of Cycling Hub 1, 2, 3? So the strategy that we've taken to the starts is that out of the gate, you want to sprint, because for the first 10 seconds, you are uncrashable. Like, you have quantum shift. So I guess you can't crash, but you have quantum shift. So you sprint out of the gate, and then you take the inside lane, and by definition, you already have the entire Cycling Hub team in one line together. You'll also see that in preparation for this event, all of Cycling Hub actually chose to pick the same color bike, because in the latest version of Cade, usually there'd be a name above that would say the name of the rider. Like, this would say Ryan G above. It doesn't now, but it usually would. It doesn't. So in order to recognize your teammates, you have to have the same bike, which is not that bad. You don't really know who's who, but it is a one way to mitigate it. But we're doing 7 laps of Saturn. If you've never raced Saturn before, it's one of the classics. It's been a while since it's been in the rotation of the CVR World Cup preseason. You can see at the bottom, you can see the map. It comes down. There's only 2 real pressure points. There's the turn. There's this turn here. That turn you can crash, and this turn you can crash. Everywhere else, I guess you can crash here too in theory, in this little chicane, but it takes a lot more to crash. So early on, I'm at 145 equalized start rate. I'm on a flying day. I'm feeling good this day. So we have a breakaway, Allison, Chris, and Peter early on. I'm on the Discord. I'm on the audio widget saying, guys, what do we do here? We've got a guy in the breakaway. We've got numbers. We have a peloton. Do we chase it back? And we were talking back and forth. We're like, do we do it? Do we not do it? We're coming up to the first left-hander. Let's see what happens on the hill. Here we go. We're coming into it. Again, the lighting, the shadow you see on the screen right now is caused by the fact that there's actually a course above. So it looks like the lighting is working too well, at least. But here we go. Allison crashes early on. I think Victor's about to do an instant replay of this. But Peter and Allison both crash into the first corner, and so does Rick. Let's see. He doesn't at least look to do a replay in this. So coming into the first corner, as I said, that corner there, that spiral is dangerous on Saturn. So we're coming into it now. Oh, let me just get back. It's been a while since I've done one of these reviews. So coming into it, you'll see right now you've got Allison, and then you've got Peter in the yellow one at the back. If you come in over 37 kilometers an hour, you will crash right there. Now look at it, and Allison crashed, and Peter crashed, and now Rick Woods is about to do the same thing, which then leaves Chris Pritchard all alone in the front, and we've got a chasing pack. I'm braking. I've got the control in the hood, so I'm braking it down. I'm doing 33 kilometers an hour, which in hindsight is probably even too low. Like, I shouldn't even be that low. I should go higher. Like, 37 is the max in the outside lane to hit the outside wall, but there are 2 approaches. I know Frank has been teasing me with a strategy in which to take turns quicker and better without crashing to keep more momentum, but I've yet to figure that one out. Again, I'm really, you can see death in my eyes to see if we catch that again. So coming into this corner, this is where you'll slide out. Now, I'm in a position here where we're coming up to a corner. This is my lane into the corner. Allison's lane is the outside lane. I am going to slide out there because that turn is just steep enough. I'm at 43 kilometers an hour. She's at 44. I will crash. So slowing it down, I am braking. I am actually hitting the brake because I know I'm about to slide out. So I'm braking. If you look at my face, you can see, oh, so close. No, I stay on it. So those small decisions you don't always notice the first time around in the broadcast, but I'm braking there as Chris crashes in this corner. But I'm actively braking on the inside not to slide out into Allison. And by Allison going quicker again, everybody, I did not see this the first time around. Everybody crashed. How did everybody crash? So the way to take this S-turn, the way to take at least the way I would recommend doing it is not the be and end all. The way I would recommend doing it is coming in on the inside. That will push you out to the outside, and then you can then move 2 lanes in. So you want to be in the middle. When you're in the middle, you don't quite slide all the way right, you don't quite slide all the way left, and you exit in a trajectory that works. You've got to accelerate out of the corner, but that's the first lap done. How everybody crashes here. Like, what must have happened is that somebody was leading the peloton, and everyone was just mindlessly doing one long lap, one long line, and then everyone just slid in, and because they're in this lane, and it's a very tight that way, they're just going to slide out. So that's what happened. And this now leaves a very interesting dynamic, because we have Allison in the front. She's there with Chris and I. And at this point, Chris and I are talking to each other going, we don't really want to take a turn on the front. Allison is there. She's doing 330 equalized watts. Until she drops that lower down, I mean, we're fine being here. Let everyone back in. It's 1 lap of 7. You've got to do this 7 times. It's a battle of nutrition. You really got to be in where it matters. You got to pick your blows. And I think at the end of this race, I actually only averaged 333 equalized watts. So my drafting was on point. My lane changing was on point. I could have won it. I'm a spoiler. I don't actually win it. But it was a really, really good race with lots of group riding dynamics. So if you're new to Cade, what's happening now is that Peter Kastrup, who's here, and you got Allison leading, this could be, what, 60% difference? So looking at the right-hand side, drawing again, Allison is at 262 equalized watts. Peter's 188, almost 100 watts difference. So he's probably at about 50% drafting at the back here, while Allison is putting on the front. Now you can see Chris is gapping Peter. I don't think he's doing it on purpose, but he's just letting it get a bit go of my wheel. We're coming into it. Now I gotta be careful because I'm also gabbing Chris a tiny bit. I should close this down, which I do now, but you pretty much need to be right on that back wheel in order to get maximum draft. I think I'm only getting about 25% here. Only is a big term, of course. 25% is a lot, but I could be getting 40. I could be getting 43. Again, the way Cade works is that in corners you get less of a drafting because you're leaning, or however that works, you just get less of a draft unless you're right up the back. Allison, though, at 400 equalized watts, 500 equalized watts, she's just slowly putting down the metal. And she was doing this every lap, by the way. Every time we got to this section of the course, the steep left-hander into the spiral, Allison would just slowly, you know, put her foot down to the throttle and just go, and suddenly there would be enough momentum where she just break everybody. Peter crashes into Tim. I think that was on purpose. They crash in this corner here. I think Tim said that he's going to make him crash, and he then made him crash as well. The following group behind. It doesn't look like there's much cooperation between Kayla, between Vanessa, between Timothy, Sebastian, Renee, Rick. I can see Kayla's working on it now, coming into this. Are they going to crash once again? Jeff crashes. Kayla just saves it. There's a little smile on her face of achievement. So she's with Vanessa, and they're working together. It's a really good race, actually. Considering that, take note, by the way, take a mental note that at this point in the race, Vanessa is 20 seconds down on the 2 leaders on the front. Kayla's coming over the top. That is the incline. It goes up to about 5%. Now, 2-man break. We got me and Chris. At this point in our audio chat, we're talking to Chris. I'm saying, Chris, get on my wheel. Slide in. If you got room, and then he moves in, of course. There's no reason to be on the outside. If you can be on my wheel, we may as well get a draft. I think Chris is avoiding. Then I go, okay, Chris, you take a turn on the front. So I move to the outside lane. Chris comes out. He goes, on the inside, on the inside. So we're working on our communication. Let's see if they cut back to me now, showing me behind. Because now I'm talking to Tim and Allison, and Tim is going, I'm not actually talking to Allison because she wasn't in our chat. But Tim is going, oh, watch out, Jesper, watch out, watch out, watch out. And I'm like, what's happening? Oh, Allison and Tim, or Allison and me are on the inside. You can't turn left. And so, okay, I go, okay, I'm waiting. Can I turn left? Can I turn left? Can I turn left? Should I go to the back of the pack or should I turn left? And Tim goes, right, if you go in front of Allison and I stay behind her, then we have a good situation. So I find the right moment, and then I turn left into it. You can see Peter is in no man's land. He's 4 seconds back. Vanessa is 5 seconds back. Here we go. 9 kilometers of racing to go, and we're about to come into the spiral place once again. When you look at the heart rates, it's very interesting to see that if you don't crash, you can save a lot of energy. I'm at 169 at the front. You've got Peter at 190. You've got Kayla at 190. You got Sep at 190. You've got Quinton at 184. So by riding smarter, not harder, you can go for longer. So Chris is at 163. I'm at 169. You can see my face. Do get to a point where I seriously suffer, but at this point I'm able to, sit in, save some energy, be calm, be collected, and make somewhat the right choices, or at least the right choices at the time, thanks to the help of Chris and Tim and whoever else is in this group. So Peter's come back on. Vanessa somehow managed to get back a 30-second gap. I mean, she's at 169 equalized heart rate, and she's 13 beats lower than Peter, and she's just slowly clawed her way back, which is very, very impressive considering the amount of effort she's had to do. Again, Peter crashes. I think Tim may have, if we look at Tim's speed, let's go back 1 second. I think if we slow it down, I think Tim might actually pull the brake a tiny bit. So 36.9, 35, yeah, definitely pulls on the brake. 31, yep, so Tim strategically makes Peter Kastrup crash in that corner by going to the outside and then putting on the brakes, which then makes Peter Kastrup turn into the back of him. So not Peter's day, but both crashes so far for Peter could have been avoided, and he doesn't. Now, coming into the spiral again, so close to crashing, doesn't happen. It happens to Vanessa. Vanessa didn't quite brake. You can see she's just crashed at the bottom of the hill. She's going to have to put in another effort to get back on. Allison at the front. I'm in second wheel. Chris is with me. I don't know. I'd love to hear your opinion on this. I don't know if this was strategically the best choice. So Chris, Tim, and I were riding as a group. You can see the tongue is out now. But my strategy as the rider in the group was to bridge every attack. I mark every attack to make sure that whatever happens, we have a rider in the front group. Now, the alternative strategy is to all stick together at all times and try and take turns and, stay over threshold. But that requires that all three people are equally as good, or not one, one person needs to really understand how to do it. And I mean, I guess we didn't really talk about this at the time. I just took it upon me to chase down Allison whenever she went off the front. And about this point, I remember in the voice chat, Tim is having, pushing to talk. He's saying, Jesper, you need to slow down Allison, because all I was doing at this point is I was drafting Allison. I was like, right, I'm just going to sit second wheel. I don't really need to do any turns because I've got two teammates chasing on behind, Chris and Tim, who are both at this point are working quite hard. You can see Chris at 700 equalized watts, Tim's at 400, Tim is at 188 equalized heart rate, so am I. Allison didn't have hers connected. Peter's making his way back, so is Vanessa. Also, Sebastian Kuhn is slowly making his way back. And I think it takes me a long time before actually, it might not even be this lap at all that I slow down Allison. I think it might actually be the next lap when she attacks on the uphill that that it hits me. Right, I should be slowing her down, because right now Allison is burning a match in the front, but it's also making Tim and Chris burn a match. I'm coming around. Here we go. Pace has slowed down. At this point, I don't think either of us really want to do anything. I mean, Allison has obviously taken the foot off the throttle. She's at 220 equalized heart rate, or equalized watts. I'm at 200 equalized watts. I don't really want to do any of the pushing on the front. We've got three riders in the group here. Arguably, by the rules and the logics of cycling, you'd see the three cycling hub members in this front group, Chris, Tim, and I, start taking turns in the front. But we're without a doubt some of the strongest guys in the day. I mean, again, outrageous statement. I know I don't mean to make those all the time, but that's the observation I'm making by watching this right now, is that we've got three guys always in the front group. If we just don't crash, if we just play it well, we should be able to outmaneuver Allison in the end. We didn't quite think that Peter and Vanessa would make their way back, but they did. I mean, we could have forced them not to come back, but eventually that would have just really, really hurt more than it should have. So I guess it's, again, strategy. Allison, 800 equalized watts, 900. It's a bit like following Quinter Molinese on an incline. As soon as you get that stimulant in your legs, you just push down the power a bit harder. And so she would do that every time. And I mean, if you compare my face in the beginning of this video to the face I'm making right now, you can see a substantial difference. So Allison's going for it. I'm getting back on the wheel. I'm trying not to crash. Again, it's quite dangerous taking turns that late. I thought Allison would crash here, but she didn't. Quite cleverly, I think she... wait, did she brake? Let's have a look. So she's at 39 equalized watts. If she brakes, that's a great maneuver. So she's at 38 kilometers an hour. It's the second number. She's on the inside lane. Let's see if we can pause it here. She's on the inside lane. She's on this trajectory. She will hit this out there if she doesn't slow down even further. We'll see how she goes. So she's at 36, 36.2. She's definitely either slowing down on the keyboard or just letting off the pace in the legs. Now I'm in front of her, And now I'm forcing her. So she's doing 1,000 equalized watts. I think she may have been scared that I was going to attack off the front, but I had no intention. I had no intention of working with Allison. I mean, I may be on the front, but only thing I'm doing is getting my heart rate down, getting my 2 teammates back. Cycling Hub's goal for this race was to get 1, 2, 3 on the podium. We weren't just satisfied with winning. We wanted to try and get as many members as possible on the podium. So we do have 3 up here, but here comes the conundrum. Peter Castro and Vanessa are making their way back. It's 2 laps remaining in the race. It's been fast, it's been hectic, it's been really high level of decision making. And now I'm going out. I want Allison to take it in the front, and I realize if I let Allison out in the front, it's going to hurt again. So I close the inside lane. Tim's on the outside. Tim's on the audio widget saying, "Look, you stay on the inside, Jesper. I stay on the outside. We sandwich Allison, and we try to make her crash. So whatever happens now, she's stuck. You can see she's boxed in. Peter on her back. Tim's on her outside. I'm on the front. Excellent display of in-team teamwork." We're back to Quinton as he's sitting on Quinton. He's suffering. Timothy's got that massive headset on. I guess a bit like me with his microphone. So they're working with Sebastian. They're about 20 seconds back. They could potentially come back at this point. I mean, it's not out of the question. If it really slows down the front group, they'll both make their way back. But they're not digging that deep. They're seeing a 200 equalized heart rate, equalized wattage. Remember, there's always the next race. Now this is probably the most fascinating point in the entire race, for me at least. And I'm not quite sure Beth caught up on this the first time around. We're coming in to the most dangerous corner in the game besides the spiral. We've got Allison on the left, me in the middle. You've got Vanessa on the outside. You've got Tim moving up. 3 riders across the road. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're coming into this. You are guaranteed to slide out. If you do not play this right, the only one that doesn't crash is Tim, and Vanessa, me, and Allison go down swinging. We'll see. We come into it. Now, keep an eye on everyone's speed up here, because I promise you, it wasn't just me who hits on the brake. You can see I'm going from 45 to 33. Tim is down to 33 as well. He's significantly slowed down. Vanessa is the only one that plays the game of chicken and wins. I don't actually think, looking at it now, that Vanessa braked all that much. I think she just went, right, I'm just going to continue it up. So coming out of the corner, and since equalized racing on Cade is such a big thing, you're now seeing that Vanessa is exiting the corner at 41 kilometers an hour. I'm exiting at 36. Tim's at 36. Allison is at 24. And Peter's at 39. But got Chris at 28 as well. Such a massive difference in corner taking. And you have to burn so many more matches. Such a big difference. Vanessa still kilometer quicker. Coming into this, Peter crashes once again. Vanessa keeps it upright. Coming on the inside. And we're about to enter the final lap of racing, or is it 2? I can't quite remember. I think it's the final lap. I assume it's the final lap of racing coming up very soon here. Vanessa's on the front, but I didn't really quite hear Beth pick up on it in the first time around in the broadcast. But that corner, the way that like 5 or 6 different ways of attacking it, braking too much, not braking at all. Vanessa just went, I'm not gonna brake. I mean, everyone else is panicking. If that's the case, and I'm just gonna be able to cruise right through, and she did. So there again, I'm trying to get on the front of Vanessa here. Actually, I should have. In retrospect, I should have gotten in front of Vanessa. I should have put on the brakes. Instead, last lap, Vanessa's attacking off the front now. She's going for it. She's going for it. She's really putting down the hurt. I mean, yeah, this was not fun. Well, it was fun, but Vanessa just puts you in this hurt zone that no one else quite can. I don't know how she does it, because right now, I mean, she just finds another level of hurt. I mean, she goes for it. She was 30 seconds back. Now she's back on the front, and she's got the gap. She's broken the draft. You can see my face. It's telling 1,000 stories. I am in pain, and I have to break this down now. In my mind, I have to close this gap. This gap is the draft. If I close this down, the attack from Vanessa is neutralized. Meanwhile, back in the chasing group, which is now 10 seconds back, you've got Chris, you got Allison, you got Tim, and you got Peter, despite crashing what seems to be 1 trillion times, has managed to continuously find his way back into the front group. So great racing, but Vanessa is slowly but surely just killing me and dragging away and going away and going away and going away. I do think there's one more lap. I think I've prematurely called it. There is one more lap of Saturn. Again, tongue's out. When I'm really suffering, the tongue comes out. We're doing it now. It's not good. Come on, Jesper, you can do it. You can do it. No, no. There's just no hope. I think at one point Tim calls it as the boss, as the head honcho of the Cade team in this race. He goes, Jesper, stop. You're not going to get back to it. If you look at if you compare the equalized heart rate, I'm on 195. Vanessa's 185. There's 10 beats difference. She's obviously got much more to give than I do at this point, so it's not the best. We'll see. Peter's coming back up. Alice is coming back up. Quentin has crashed with Sebastian and Timothy, so he's out of the chasing group. Tim's at the back. You can see I'm slowly turning into a lobster. I'm slowly turning red as well. So here we go, catching up. Vanessa's up the front. If I'm going to catch back up, in my head, this is here. I'm putting down some hurt. Nothing is really coming out of the legs. 500 equalized watts is not that much for me. Is all I got. Allison's trying to get back on. Chris is getting back on. Tim is 4 seconds back, 3 seconds back. Coming in now. This is, of course, the final lap. You can see Vanessa's heart rate is coming up now. Her watts are coming down. She's taking a rest. She's coming into the corner here. She takes it quite nicely, and now you can ring the bell. If we speed it up, here's me. I'm a bit further back down. Oh, why is it not? It's not. Oh, I'm on the wrong. Sorry. Here we go. That's. How many of these have I made? Let's go. There you go. Now I can speed it up. So coming into it, I slow down. I wait for Allison. Tim asked me to hold up, get the breath, last lap, recoup and recover. You're not going to catch Vanessa. She's having a great day. She's on fire. Now recover. I'm here with Allison. I'm here with Chris. Chris at 196 heart rate. Tim is at 180. He's a bit further back. He's trying to work with Timothy. At this point, Peter is given up almost. Allison crashes, by the way. I can't remember. Let's see how Allison crashes. You can just see her up in the distance. You can see her up there. Let's see if we can see how she crashes. Oh, she turns into the back of my wheel. That's how she crashes. I faintly remember seeing her crash, but that's how she crashed. She hit the back of my wheel, and that's pretty much her race over at that point. With 1 lap to go, pace is simply too high. And you'll see coming down. Vanessa is still 13 seconds up the road. There's no sign of her slowing down anytime soon. Chris, at this point, I'm telling Chris, just go for it, Chris. I've burned a match. Don't wait for me. Just go on the front, lay down some hurt, see what you've got. I'll be here. I'll work with whoever's around me. I'll just keep on it. And I also think at this point, Tim was telling me in my ear, Jesper, do not let Allison come back. You got to stay on the power. Allison is chasing you down. Stay on it, stay on it, stay on it. Make her work, make her work, make her work. So I'm still doing 400 equalized watts. Chris is doing 600. Vanessa's doing 300. Coming into the left-hand turn. Now, I've yet to see this. I know what's about to happen. I know that both Chris and Vanessa are about to crash. Vanessa's doing 43 kilometers an hour. Chris is doing 44. Vanessa comes up. She crashes. All Chris has to do now is not crash. And how does he crash? How does Chris doesn't crash? How does no what, Chris? How does Chris crash on that? So Chris gets through the corner, no issues whatsoever. You can see him braking. He's down to 34. He's done great. Now, what he's about to do is so innate. I love you, Chris, but that's so funny. That's how you crashed. He's... I love you, Chris. That is hilarious. Great race. Before I'm about to say what you just did, that is amazing. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of the teamwork that Chop put out in this race. This is the end of the turn. This is where the turn ends. You cannot really go in. If you're going 32 kilometers an hour, you will slide out on these, which means if you are turning inward to the lane, you will crash, but you will not slide out. So if you are here, you will survive. Now, what's about to happen is Chris thinks he's through the corner. He's also, it's worth mentioning, Chris is at 200 equalized heart rate. So he's literally at his max, according to what's been recorded in CVRcade. And now he comes through. See what he does. He comes through. Now, again, remind you, that is the end of the turn. That's the end of the turn. Does he he slides right, then turns left. Oh my goodness, Chris. That's amazing. That's hilarious. Well played. And then Vanessa manages to hit somebody too. I think Vanessa turned into whoever this was. Oh my god, stories. It could be Jeff Rooney, it could be Sebastian, it could be somebody further back. That's why Cade racing is so amazing, so fun. It's a back and forth affair. Chris is 3 seconds up. I am just doing my best not to let Vanessa come back. She's got to build a lot more momentum, going 20 kilometers an hour quicker. Chris is at 202 equalized heart rate. Well-deserved victory for Chris. He really worked hard for it in the distance. He's going to be the first to cross the line and win the Saturn race. Possibly my favorite race so far in all of Cade. It had everything. It had teamwork. It had the stories. It had the crashes. We're getting to a point where people are so clever regarding the racing now that all the minor things is breaking. You'll see my celebration. That's how much this meant to me. I was so happy. I was so happy. The second place is a victory with Chris winning. Vanessa in third. Allison in fourth. Tim further down. Great race. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Let me know if you got this far in the video how you felt. Timothy over the line as well. But that's CVRcade racing for you. It's getting better. It's getting much, much better by every race. All the strategies. When you look at the early days, no one would break into a corner, the fear of crashing. But that's the case now. Can't wait. I think tonight we're doing Road High Desert and we're doing Fantastic Alien Sea. I'm on commentary. Beth's on racing. And I'll see you tonight.